Becky Walsh, thank you very much for agreeing to join me this afternoon and come in for this interview.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for setting this up. I appreciate it. It's good work. Thank you.
And you're very welcome. And I don't really know where to begin, but how about you tell us a little bit about your background? Because I guess people who know you will know you, and those who don't, will think, well, who's Becky and what's she about? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Why do we have to listen to her?
Why do we have to listen to her?
I'm an odd fish, really, I guess, because I work very strongly with intuition, although I don't class myself to be a psychic, which is interesting. I had a radio show on LBC which was called The Psychic Show, and I've written a book called Advanced Psychic Development, and suddenly I'm at a point in my life when I've realised that I can't turn around people's concept of what being a psychic is. So what I've discovered is that I have to drop the word, because unless I spend too much time arguing with what the word means to me, I can't reinvent what the word means to everybody else. And it is a very negatively tainted word. And I actually disagree with many viewpoints and thoughts, including the idea of giving future predictions. I'm actually really dead against future predictions. So then why go and see someone who works with intuition who doesn't look forward? So within my work, what I've discovered is that it's so much more important to find out where the root of our thoughts have come from, because our thoughts are really, in essence, creating our reality. So in order to really think about where we're going, we need to know what decisions we made. So there's things that we did in our childhood where we thought we were right, and then we're still acting out these decisions. So what I really do is I can see backwards. So I intuitively know where people's thought processes originally came from, and then we look at those thought processes together, and then we see whether or not they're applicable, and they usually aren't if they're negative. And then I use life coaching skills as well as a huge bag of spirituality tricks and things that I've taken from all sorts of different doctrines and readings. And put that all together and help the person be able to shift into where they really want to be, an authentic, genuine, connected lifestyle. That's what we're looking for.
Wow, that sounds great. How did it start? I mean, were you conscious of being psychic as a child, or was how? What was the early story?
Well, I'm dyslexic, and
Okay.
I actually believe that intuition, psychic ability, when people have it incredibly strongly, is a brain abnormality. So in other words, most of the left hemisphere of the brain is the analytical mind. Now, when you're dyslexic, your analytical mind doesn't really work that well. So the basic things like your maths, physics, chemistry, that's not so basic to me. But when we look at those things, reading and writing, it's not as easy for somebody who is more right brain than left brain to be able to do that. So I believe that most dyslexic people are incredibly creative, wonderful when it comes to right brain things. So the skills are different. So many people, when they look at, there's, autism is usually people who have a very incredible left brain. So what I really believe is that psychic ability is something that is seen in people who have a brain abnormality in that way. So it's usually people who are dyslexic. I don't know if you ever caught, there was a TV show called Test the Nation. Oh, it's not that good. And it was presented by Anne Diamond, and
Right.
She's kind of very well known for being able to be quite a critic and very sharp wit, that lady. Well, in Test the Nation they have people from different walks of life, and they had doctors and people who are deliverymen, and then this one week they had psychics, and they asked me to go on it, and I said, no, we're going to lose. Really lose. And the woman said, oh, don't be negative. And then, of course, Anne Diamond couldn't even say anything funny about this, because the mind just doesn't work. So this whole bank of psychics were it just proved to be really stupid, but in actual fact, they're not really stupid. It's just that the brain works better in a right hemisphere way than a left hemisphere way. So I think everyone can develop psychic ability. It's just developing one part of the mind. It's about listening. It's about listening, and many people who are trained therapists listen on a stage 3 level, it's called. So, for life coaches, they know the difference between listening on stage 1 level. So listening stage 1 would be, what are you saying, how does it affect me? Stage 2 listening is, what are you saying, how does it affect me, and how can I impress you with what I know about what you're saying? Stage 3 listening is when you listen on multiple levels of knowing. So you're not just listening to what the person is saying, but you're feeling it in your body. You are aware of the breath and the pauses. You are aware of the fact that there is something that goes beyond this moment that they're saying it. So say, for example, if somebody was saying, oh, I went to India, and, you know, scale 1 listening would be, that's nice. Scale 2 listening would be, you know, I went to India, oh, I went to India, that was great, yeah, and I, blah, blah, blah. And then scale 3 listening may be the person says, I went to India, and you're listening and you go, you've fallen in love with somebody, haven't you? Because something else is emerging behind what they're trying to, you know, so you almost are cheating and you're getting to the end of the story before the beginning of the story. And so you can train yourself to listen on that level, on that multiple way of knowing level. And to be honest, if you do, you are going to be the person that everyone falls in love with. Because everyone loves being heard to that extent. To be really heard and fully understood. And psychic ability is about being able to really listen. So, and again, you know, maybe I'll stop using that word because it's an intuitive knowing on a very deep level who somebody really is. And I think that that's really how we need to start joining together in community.
Is it listening on an energy level, if you know what I mean? Is it you know, because people tend to think, I think, of listening in terms of using their ears. And
well, let's examine what energy is. Everything is made of sound.
Yeah.
You know, so everything that is something is vibrating. So everything is made of sound. From the point of the Big Bang, which was a huge sound, everything is made of sound. So what we're actually doing is we're finding different ways that are not our ears to be able to listen to sound. So if energy and vibration is sound, then we're just listening to sound. So it's just knowing that you don't need your ears to be able to understand. So the right hemisphere of the brain is a receiver, but it's receiving information from your chakra points, from your aura, from your energetic system. So it's listening on a multiple levels of knowing. And I keep saying that, multiple levels of knowing, but it really is that. It's a somatic thing. It's in the body. You know, the subconscious mind actually runs down the spine. So it's really interesting how your body stores emotions as vibrations, and that can create hard tissue in your back and cause awful chronic pain. But that can be a held memory, something that's still in there. And a person who can touch that hard, inflamed muscle can enter into a dialogue with it and ask why it's holding. Lots of people have held muscle tissues around the heart area at the back and the front. And quite often it's because they're holding on to a broken heart and the fragments of that heart. Whereas when you get into a dialogue with the held tissue, you can actually tell it to relax, which is sometimes a lot better than going and then being beaten to death by someone who does deep tissue massage or sports massage and it just hurts. It hurts more.